Before the highlights, we talked about the departures of the Boston Bruins. Their captain, Zdeno Chara, Torrey Krug. That means a whole lot more of a load and responsibility on the youngster. This guy's still young, Charlie McAvoy. What have you seen so far in the early goings from him this year?
I've loved it because if you read between the lines, some things that aren't, you got to look at some of the things that aren't said, right? So Zdeno Chara gets let go. He goes to the Washington Capitals. Torrey Krug goes to the St. Louis Blues. Because they don't replace anybody, I think the knee-jerk reaction, I did it, is what are they doing? What is Boston doing? They went from a President's Trophy. They're not going to replace either of those D-men. The fact that they stayed quiet shows me they have belief in somebody in there that's going to take a bigger role. That's Charlie McAvoy. Yeah. I mean, he is an all-situational defenseman. He does it quietly. He plays physical. He can do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. He's a guy that I think eventually in his career he's going to be a full-time power play guy. Grzelcyk does a great job on the power play as well. But Charlie McAvoy is, I find that he's quietly working his way into a top 10 D-man in this league. And that says a lot because he has a lot on his plate with the departure of those two guys. And it just shows what they think about him. He's been fantastic, and you saw him on the second goal. His outlet passes, the way he gets puck up ice. Charlie McAvoy is the real deal.
It feels like he's a 10-year veteran at this point in his career. It wasn't too long ago that he was one of those guys jumping right in.
They jump him in, they put him with Z.
McCarr, Quinn Hughes, all these guys.
Put him with Zdeno Chara. He learns under those guys. They've got that leadership group there that Sean Corelli talked about. Now all of a sudden, this guy finds himself at a very young age. He's a leader on this team, and he's eaten a lot of minutes.
Unbelievable. This was a battle for first place. Both teams came in 16 points, tied for first in the East. The Bees now take over sole possession. The Flyers would be fine if they didn't play the Bruins this season because their last 4 losses have all come against the black and gold. Yeah. You think back on your playing days, was there one team that you just like, oh, we can't get by these guys? Why not?
There's some seasons that it's just weird where you have a matchup in your division where maybe you might be undefeated against one team in your division and you might have lost every game against another one. And then those two teams, it just nothing makes sense. You know, well, we beat this team and we lost to this team, but that team's beating the team. It's all over the map. So just some of those games where they have your number. And
does that snowball, though?
It gets tough.
It's been 4 of 8 meetings so far. All 4 have gone to Boston. Yeah. Does that get into the psyche?
It does. It does. We've had it before. I remember one year when I was playing for the New Jersey Devils, and I don't know if we won a game against the Rangers in the regular season. In the first round, we had to play the Rangers. And it's tough. It's a mental block when you're sitting there and you're like, we haven't beaten these guys yet this year. Yeah. And it's something you have to get over. You try not to think about, but some teams just have other teams' numbers. And right now it's theirs. That's why we started seeing a feisty game here to start off.
Fun to watch.
It should be like that because these guys have enough. So I'm excited to see the other games they're going to be playing against each other. You're going to have some pushback here from the Flyers because they've got to right this because they can certainly play each other in the playoffs.
All right, it doesn't get any easier in this division. The Flyers have the Caps coming up in their next tilt. The Bruins, they'll take on the Rangers coming up in their next game.